celebrating 41 seasons on the year. Farm Week is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Today on Farm Week, a new study says increased CO2 in the atmosphere is making crops less nutritious.
Just in time for higher gas prices, the nation's second largest refiner asked for a hardship waiver with profits in the billions.
Hay producers get new technology and strategies to make harvest time just a tad easier.
And one grocery chain is turning garbage into gold. Farm Week starts right now. Hello, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Mike Russell. Thanks for joining us today on Farm Week. A new study released days ago is raising concerns about how climate change may be affecting nutrition. The study, building on previous data that shows some crops lose nutrients as CO2 increases, analyzed CO2 at levels scientists believe will reach by the end of the century. Looking at rice, what's new about this study is that in an environment of elevated carbon dioxide, CO2, levels of several B vitamins dropped sharply. About a third of the world's population gets most of its calories from rice. The publishers of the study say the new results are, quote, particularly distressing. The Renewable Fuel Standard, RFS, is in the news again. This time, the nation's second largest oil company, Marathon Petroleum, has asked the EPA for a hardship waiver to eliminate its obligation to comply. Iowa's Charles Grassley, the senior senator from the nation's #1 ethanol-producing state, tweeted his response. Note to EPA, definition of hardship, a condition that is difficult to endure, suffering, deprivation, oppression. Surely Marathon doesn't qualify for a waiver. They had a net income of $3.4 billion in 2017. Billions in profits isn't hardship.
Organic food is everywhere, but apparently the industry is split on whether or not all producers should pay to promote certified organic products. That's what the USDA said recently in terminating a checkoff program proposed by the OTA, the Organic Trade Association. Checkoff programs are not unusual. Many industries use them to collect millions used in researching and promoting their products. Apparently, those smaller organic producers believe they won't benefit, and the USDA, sensing that split, terminated the proposal days ago. It had received almost 15,000 comments during the run-up to the deadline. It said the industry, quote, was not aligned in backing the proposal.
Mother Nature isn't always on our side, especially in the hay business. Recently, at a hay production field day in Newton, Mississippi, producers saw firsthand how modern equipment helps save time without sacrificing forage quality and nutrition. Farm Week's Amy Myers has that story.
Until recent years, hay producers commonly left freshly cut hay on the ground to dry out for a couple days before baling and feeding to livestock. In the meantime, it would be left subject to unpredictable weather. So ideally, baling hay earlier would help prevent possible weather damage. At a hay production demonstration field day, participants learned about haylage equipment, which involves cutting earlier when forage is still green.
It's important to attend events and demonstrations like this to see what new technologies are out there, find out what this equipment can do, and speak with industry professionals.
If the window of Mother Nature allows it, you can actually have it put up within a 10 to 12 hour period. Dry hay, it takes a little longer, a few more days. With haylage, it gives us the opportunity because you put it up at 60 to 40% moisture.
Cutting earlier also helps lock in higher nutrient and moisture content.
You cut it in the vegetative state or the dough stage, and when all your milk, when your waters and juices and sugars are in that stem.
Extension forage specialist Rocky Lemus says new baling equipment has really changed.
We see that there's a lot of technology out there when it comes to hay production system and balage technology as well. And one thing that I think is we see a lot of changes with these systems is that now balers are incorporated, especially different companies are incorporated moisture testers in their balers, but also portable NR system that can allow them to have an estimate of the quality of the foliage that are also being baled in the field.
That technology is built into cutting or baling equipment, right?
That's correct, especially on the balers.
Lemus says it's important to make sure hay bales are uniform in size when wrapping in bale tubes. This prevents air pockets that may lead to mold. From the Coastal Plains Branch Experiment Station in Newton, I'm Amy Myers reporting.
For more information about hay and forage production, visit MississippiForages.com.
What if you could make the pasta dishes you and your family love healthier and sneak them past picky eaters? That's the idea behind this week's encore presentation of The Food Factor. Here's Extension's Natasha Haynes with Zoodles.
Looking for a creative way to add more vegetables to your diet? How about when you can slip by the pickiest of eaters? It's Zoodle time! Pasta made out of zucchini doesn't necessarily sound like it would work, but Zoodle noodles are all the rage right now. Here is a very simple introduction to making them. Start by cutting zucchini into thin, noodle-like strips using a vegetable spiralizer or a potato peeler. Place strips in a colander and toss with 2 teaspoons of salt. After draining for 30 minutes, add zucchini to a boiling pot of water and cook for 1 minute. Drain immediately following cooking and rinse with cold water. Next, in a separate skillet, heat a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil over medium heat and add the zucchini strips along with chopped mushrooms, garlic, and tomatoes. Stir for approximately 5 minutes and dust lightly with Parmesan cheese to finish the recipe. This is one of many Zoodle recipes, so try it out. It's time to make healthy food a factor in your life.
And for more Zoodle recipes, visit the Food Factor's Pinterest board.
In our Southern gardening segments, we spend a lot of time talking about color. With Mississippi's rich soil and abundant water supply, it's easy to create an explosion of color. And with that, here's horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman with one of the most colorful flowers there is.
I think one of the classic summer plants for our Mississippi gardens has to be bougainvillea. This tropical plant is perfect in a hanging basket or container on the porch and patio. Today's Southern Gardening is visiting Rivers Nursery for a good look at these plants that require little care and can return many years of enjoyment. These bougainvillea baskets will develop long arching branches as the summer progresses. Be careful when handling because of the sharp thorns on the stems. The flowers are available in a variety of colors, but did you know they're not actually flowers? They're really modified leaves called bracts and have a papery texture and surround the white tubular flowers. Best growth is achieved by full sun exposure. These plants are also heavy feeders and will benefit from monthly applications of water-soluble fertilizer. But the plants actually require very little irrigation, so be careful not to overwater in between feedings. Bougainvillea will begin to bloom in the spring and fall. The flowers are produced in cycles of about 6 weeks, followed by a rest period. Bougainvillea can be pruned any time to keep the plant neat. Pruning after a flowering cycle will encourage branching, which leads to more flowers during the next bloom cycle. In the fall, bougainvillea should be brought inside and placed in a window with high light for indoor flowering to brighten the winter months. The Rivers family brought this plant into the greenhouse many years ago, and look how it has grown into a bougainvillea tree. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman, and I'll see you next time on Southern Gardening.
By the way, in case you were wondering, bougainvillea are named after a French Navy admiral and explorer, Louis Antoine de Bougainville, in 1789 as he was sailing around the globe. They were named after him by a female botanist traveling with him who wasn't supposed to be there. She disguised herself as a man and snuck onto the ship. So a little bit of trivia for you there. Let's sneak into the markets and see what Leighton has up his sleeve.
Well, I've learned something here, Mike. I had never heard that backstory on bougainvillea. Well, with the beginning of June, which is where we are, the U.S. resumes trade talks with China. We'll update what's happening also ahead this week. A bad bean crop in Argentina is boosting export expectations for soybeans. A new report indicates the U.S. has the makings for plenty of bacon on hand. And we'll find out what the placement of fewer head of cattle in April could mean for the beef sector. It's wait and see as far as the outcome of more trade talks between the United States and China. As the month of May ended, President Trump was downplaying any expectation for a quick resolution to the issues still on the table. Some state soybean groups are also skeptical of fast progress. Previous White House statements that the outcome of it all will be a 30 to 40% increase in U.S. ag exports to China are part of the reason for a wait-and-see attitude now. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross is leading the latest round of talks now underway in Beijing. Meanwhile, the crush demand is described as solid right now in the U.S. soybean sector, despite that situation with China. Trader Tom Fitzenmeyer says a lot of these sales are a result of a bad soybean crop in Argentina.
I think meal's been the driver in this bean market, and meal exports have been great, and that's strictly driven by Argentina. Argentina crushes a lot of beans, exports a lot of meal. Obviously, their crop was terrible. The peso's dropping. They've got a high interest rate, so the beans the farmers down there are sitting on, they're not parting with. So all that crush demand is going to the U.S. As a matter of fact, Argentina has been a decent buyer of U.S. beans to buy to crush. So and that generates a lot of bean oil. So then you're seeing all this downward pressure on bean oil. Now I think that trade's getting a little overdone.
By the way, November beans closed at 10.42 on Tuesday. Meanwhile, U.S. corn exports are also said to be really cooking right now. And again, analysts say a lot of the sales are due to problems with the grain crops in South America. Sean Hackett explains it this way.
Well, look, we know Argentina's corn crop is very poor. We think that the Brazilian crop's going to come in disappointing on the second crop. We know the first crop was down because of lower acres. It means good exports for the U.S. There's really no one else in the world that can export and take the place of lost Brazilian and Argentine exports. So we think it's good news for corn exports, and it's going to continue to be a good demand-side driver for the rest of the year.
December corn futures closed at 4.19 on Tuesday. While corn prices could be higher in June and July, trader Elaine Cubb sounds pretty sure that a price drop is ahead for corn. Here's how she put it recently.
I do feel fairly confident saying that prices will be lower at harvest. We don't have a reason to worry about overall production in this country right now. We're probably going to have ample supplies, and I feel confident saying that prices will be lower at harvest.
It's now time for today's trivia quiz. Our question is about a big row crop in Mississippi, soybeans. And here it is. How much of the soybeans' value comes from the meal? Is the answer A, 38%, B, 55%, C, 70%, or D, 90%? We'll have that answer coming up in a few moments.
We'll take a short break here, so don't go away. Coming up on our Farm Week feature, for all the food that's grown by farmers and sold in grocery stores, a lot of it goes to waste. Some of that still edible goes to those who can't afford it. But one grocery chain is turning garbage into gold, turning 250,000 pounds of waste into compost good for the environment. Zero waste is a growing trend and a new market coming up on Farm Week.
ATVs are a ton of fun for people of all ages, but these powerful machines can also be a ton of trouble if safety guidelines aren't followed. Always wear a regulation helmet, gloves, and goggles when operating a four-wheeler. Long sleeves, pants, and over-the-ankle boots are also smart protection. Mississippi law requires approved ATV safety training for all operators who don't have a driver's license. This message brought to you by MSU Extension 4-H.
Welcome back. Before we get to the market report, let's take a look at the Farm Week calendar. Thursday, June 7th from 8 a.m. to noon, the Beaumont Horticultural Field Day. This event features workshops on specialty crop production, including small fruits, vegetables, high tunnel production, raised beds, and sustainable practices. For more information, call Christine Coker at 228-546-1013. June 11th through 13th at the Mississippi State University campus in Starkville, it's Making Tracks 2018, the annual Junior Beef Leadership Conference. Now in its 22nd year, Making Tracks is a joint effort between the MSU Animal and Dairy Science Department, the Mississippi Cattlemen's Foundation, and the Mississippi Junior Cattlemen's Association. This three-day event includes workshops on all aspects of the cattle industry. The deadline to register is June 1st. For more information, call the Mississippi Cattlemen's Association at 601-354-8951. Now, check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
We move into the livestock markets next on Farm Week, beginning with hogs. Many analysts say what really caught their eye in the recent cold storage report is the skyrocketing amount of pork belly stocks now in U.S. coolers. Over 64 million pounds, in fact, a 93% increase from a year ago at this same time. Missouri trader Scott Brown says this development probably could spell lower highs for producers in terms of where summer prices go. And for consumers at the retail level, well, increased stocks of bellies could mean more featuring of bacon and other pork products at the grocery meat counter this summer. Well, those cold storage numbers for pork bellies have some economists saying it may be time for the hog sector to trim the tonnage, so to speak. Walt Hackney thinks an increase in corn prices would probably help accomplish that pretty quickly.
Pork is estimated to be extraordinary numbers coming at us as we get toward the third quarter of this year. We're really looking at a blessing in disguise if they can keep this corn going up, because as a result of that, we're going to reduce the tonnage of pork availability, as it would also involve beef, feedlot cattle.
And updating that price you saw on the screen, July hogs closed at $78.85 on Tuesday. Moving now into the beef sector, the USDA's cattle on feed report, May 25th, was pretty much in line with the expectations of traders. Extension's Josh Maples thinks the 8% drop in the number of cattle placed into feedlots compared to a year ago is perhaps the most significant aspect of the numbers.
So this is a pretty big decrease, and this is the second consecutive decrease month, but it follows 12 consecutive months of increases. So it's lower placements than a year ago for sure.
Back to the trivia quiz now as we wrap things up in the markets for another week. Today's question, how much of the soybeans value comes from the meal? And the answer is C, 70%.
Every year, millions of tons of unsold grocery garbage wind up in America's landfills. That's unfortunate in a time when industries around the globe are creatively finding new ways to be green and make a buck in the process. But one grocery chain in Iowa is literally saving tons of trash from the trash heap every month and putting smiles on the faces of employees and customers. Here's Peter Tubbs with that story.
The Hy-Vee grocery store in Waukee, Iowa, makes fresh salsa by the gallon. Separating the seeds and stems from vegetables generates a lot of food waste, which normally has a single destination, the local landfill. Hy-Vee, which operates 245 grocery stores in 8 Midwestern states, is among several companies seeking alternatives to sending organic waste to landfills. The zero waste goal is a growing trend among businesses and has opened a market opportunity for the recycling company.
We are a company that takes food waste that would normally go into the landfill. It'd be put into a trash dumpster, and instead of going to the trash dumpster, it goes into our orange bins. We pick it up either once or twice a week, depending on the account, and it gets taken down to our site in Eddyville, Iowa, where it's composted.
As the volume of material available for composting increases, the demand for inexpensive compost also is growing. Green RU has targeted their compost for landscaping and residential locations, as well as a soil amendment in agricultural settings. According to Hy-Vee officials, composting is favored by customers and employees instead of sending food waste to a local landfill. A grocery store generates a large amount of waste in nominal terms. Employee participation is a key to diverting appropriate waste into the compostable stream.
That our employees felt very engaged in the whole sustainability effort. They knew the value of diverting to lower the methane that is coming out of the landfill. They understand the importance of lowering your carbon footprint. And to work for an employer that cares about that is important to them. So we know it's more the right thing to do is to maximize our opportunities for landfill diversion.
The grocery industry estimates that 15% of the food that comes into a supermarket will go unsold, which can translate to 30,000 pounds of material into the composting stream each month. Products are routinely pulled from shelves ahead of their sell-by dates. Some of the pulled products are distributed to social service groups and nonprofits that focus on food insecurity.
Our first priority is to get the edible unsellable to consumers who can use it. Once it gets to the point of spoilage, that it's no longer viable for human consumption, then we put that in the landfill diversion.
90% of Hy-Vee stores have a compost stream, which generates 17 million pounds of material each year. Compostable materials are collected in the back of the store in a separate dumpster from the landfill-bound trash. A custom-built service truck from Green RU empties the specialized receptacle several times a week, depending on the volume of waste the store generates. Trucks travel with their own water supply for cleaning the empty dumpsters after each load. More than 200 tons of organic waste a week is blended with ground wood products to achieve a specific mix that encourages the decomposition process. At this 18-acre Green RU facility near Eddyville, Iowa, windrows 700 feet long are slowly turned to aerate the organic material. Some compost recipes can become finished product in as little as 8 weeks, while others require 12 to 14 weeks to finish. Food waste is valuable to the chemistry of composting, with its high nitrogen and moisture content. The nitrogen and water speed the decomposition process. As decomposition proceeds, the carbon to nitrogen ratio shifts from 30-to-1 to the 15-to-1 range, which is valuable for both agricultural and residential consumers. While demand for finished compost is important, Hy-Vee officials are always seeking a competitive rate compared to sending everything to the landfill. Cost neutrality may be a long-term advantage produced by Green RU. The company essentially bids for different types of compostable waste using a sliding fee scale. Some waste streams are more valuable to Green RU for what the stream brings to the composting process. As landfill tipping fees increase over time, the composting option may make more and more economic sense. Slowing the volume of waste destined for landfills means lower garbage costs for homes and businesses, and fewer acres of rural America devoted to the burying of trash. For Hy-Vee, reducing the waste stream also involves bringing to market what otherwise would be thrown away. Robinson Fresh, one of the largest food distributors in the country, has introduced a line of produce branded Misfits,
where all of the cosmetically challenged fruits and vegetables, which typically are discarded into landfills, are rescued and are repackaged and brought to retail operations like Hy-Vee, where we sell these misfit produce at a discount. And it's a program that is done very, very well, and it resonates extremely well with the consumers.
The Misfit line of produce is discounted at least 30% compared to the visually perfect fruits and vegetables sold in the rest of the produce department. Hy-Vee sells an average of 250,000 pounds per month of produce that would have otherwise been sent to a Minnesota landfill.
We know that the consumer, this is important to a lot of the consumers, and so that's why it's important that we continue to build on this and promote this program so that 1.5 million pounds becomes 5 million pounds next year.
A 5 million pound reduction in the produce waste stream by consumers looking for a deal. For Market to Market, I'm Peter Tubbs.
Great story. Always good to see industry looking for ways to turn pollution into something good for the environment.
Certainly is, and making a profit in the process.
Absolutely.
Well, next week on Farm Week, we take to the skies. It's not Top Gun, but they're still buzzing the heartland. Despite the increased use of drones, crop dusting pilots are still a major air force in agriculture.
These guys won't be flying off into the sunset anytime soon. Top off your tanks. We're shoving into overdrive with a former GI now flying the friendly skies over Iowa. That's next time on Farm Week.
And remember, if you miss a story, you can find the past episodes of Farm Week at our website, msuext.ms/farmweek.
And as always, don't forget to follow us and all of our video clips from the show on Facebook and Twitter as well. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.